whatever.
Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Tuesday, and welcome to August.
I can't believe it. It's been such a, this year has gone by so fast.
Yeah, sorry. School is about to start.
Tomorrow?
Which is ridiculous.
No, Thursday.
In some places Thursday, and other places, maybe next week or something like that. Brittany, I never went to school until I went to college. I never went to school until the day after Labor Day. Never.
I feel like that was tradition at one point, but it doesn't seem to be that way anymore.
And we still seem to somehow to get educated. Of course, there was no such thing as the.
I think you misspoke.
As the fall break. There's no such thing as a fall break. The fall break was Thanksgiving, and the day after. There was no such thing as winter break. We actually called it Christmas in those days. We believed in Christmas and stuff, and you could still read the Bible in class, and that was winter break. There was no spring break except for Good Friday and the day after Easter. That was it. and then summer vacation, which was almost exactly 3 months.
Well, and from what I understand, we still have the same amount of school days. It's just spread out differently. So the summers look a little different, but also during the school year, they get more time off. So I don't know. It sounds like we're kind of shifting a little bit to more of a year-round type situation at some point, but we'll see.
Yeah, but of course, then none of the schools were air-conditioned in those days either. So
that would be a challenge.
It'd be rough now because we built all these Taj Mahals for these little kids, and you've noticed that the exponentially the scores have skyrocketed.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. Most
definitely.
of the places look like correctional facilities anyway.
Yeah, they're big boxes. Not a lot of architectural.
The only one that they did where
them.
they actually did when they built the new Savannah High School, they kind of made it look like the old Savannah High School with the big columns and things of that nature. So that was kind of cool. Other than that, most of them, they're functional, I suppose. It's amazing how we think that somehow the physical plant is going to make the kids smarter. If you remember, in fact, Leslie Stahl, whose IQ is approaching double digits, I'm sure, was doing a story about 15 years ago or so on 60 Minutes. And it was about the Denver school system. A judge in Denver said the schools were in such dilapidated condition in Denver. He ordered the school system to spend $1 billion on new schools, and so they got these palaces. Saddam Hussein would have been happy to live in one of those, and the scores didn't go up at all. And Leslie's having trouble understanding this. Why they have these beautiful facilities and the scores aren't going up. So airhead Leslie can't figure this out. It's because apparently they invested in the physical plant and not the teachers. You go to India and you have these kids that are thinking about becoming biological, scientists and things of that nature in the third grade, and they're in a thatched hut with a dirt floor.
Yeah, I mean, just because you build a brand new school does not mean that the kids are going to be more educated. That's actually
diddly.
Not how that works. Steve Stanton says none of the buses had AC either.
Mm-hmm.
And Lizzie Warren says Hess Elementary is an architectural atrocity. So
couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I'll hope you pick your school. And pretty much, with the exception, as we said, of the new Savannah High School, pretty much they look like correctional facilities.
Maybe for a reason, but I do think that there's a lot of work to do in that department here in Chatham County. Hopefully, East Blast, hopefully we're done with that after this round, and because they've basically built all of these new schools. It doesn't really seem like they still need the East Blast, but Now they want to put like maintenance of these schools into eSPLOS instead of having to like control their budget.
Well,
So
same thing with the
that's
regular
a little
SPLOST
trick they're
tax.
going to try
The
and do.
original SPLOST tax was to help traffic, to improve road
Of
improvement
course.
and drainage.
Uh-huh.
And now it's for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the eSPLOST tax, they're gonna do it for maintenance, because the schools do need to be maintained. But what bothered me about building all these new schools is that within 3 or 4 years of having all these problems about leakage and things of that nature, I said, okay, we've got, SCAD has redone a lot of the old neighborhood schools around downtown Savannah, where you could actually walk to school. You didn't need a school bus. You could walk to school, and you didn't have to worry about getting attacked or molested or anything. And those buildings were built like the Rock of Gibraltar. You can look at these places, and after damn near 100 years, no leaks or anything. They've done capital improvements and things of that nature, but there's no leakage or anything of that nature.
Well, I do think that we don't take pride in how we build things like we used to either.
Boy, that's the truth.
You can see that in homes that were built, different things like that. So it doesn't surprise me. Lizzie says, seems to be an inverse correlation between new buildings and test scores. And she says, done with eSPLOS. Is this a comedy show today? Yeah. Steve Statton also says, we had a radiator heating. Was always warm on side of the room where they were. Yeah. LOL. Yeah. They're so balanced.
You wanted to get that desk near the radiator,
yeah.
but nevertheless, and now we've got the cameras, the traffic cams.
We all love
schools.
them, right? Yeah. Everyone loves these traffic cameras.
I got 3 tickets for speeding in a school zone last year, and for $150 each. I finally decided I wasn't going to pay the last one, because it wasn't during school hours. I thought I was never speeding in a zone where the lights were flashing, school's out or school's about to start.
Right.
But I kept getting tickets for going the regular speed limit in a school zone, even though it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, where there's no kids outside, they're inside, maybe learning something. And I said, okay, so I'm taking this. The next one I'm taking to court. And I said, this isn't right, that you're fining people, because this has become the next cash cow for them.
Well, not only that, it's the company isn't actually the city that put up the cameras.
No.
So it's like this whole convoluted process.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
that's how
no.
they pay for the cameras.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, no, we should not be doing this. And I'm sorry. I just think that this is. Police officers should be writing the tickets. We should not be getting tickets from these cameras. Like, it drives me crazy, Bill. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, but we have a lot of things that'll drive you crazy, like the Devin Archer yesterday testifying before a congressional committee, and very credible evidence once again that Joe Biden is as corrupt as it gets. That he was in cahoots. Now you remember, you have to learn to speak Bidenese. You had to learn Obama-ese. You had to learn to speak up when he said, your taxes will not go up one dime. They didn't. They went up several $1,000s. They didn't go up a dime. Now I never talked to my son about any of his business dealings. That's because they were Joe's business dealings. They weren't his son's. His son was the liaison, the conduit to get to Joe.
Never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their businesses, period. I did anything wrong, and I didn't realize he was on the board till after he'd been on the board, and at the same time, he has come forward and said it was a mistake on his part to be on the board. I don't know what he was doing. I know he was on the board. I found out he was on the board after he was on the board. And that was it.
The fact is, I was unaware of his investments until it occurred, and I've never discussed my son's business with him because I didn't want any conflict.
I don't discuss business with my son. I didn't know that was the case. I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. I've never discussed my business or their business, my sons or daughters, and I've never discussed them.
And there'll be a stocking at Christmas this year at the White House with his new granddaughter's name on it, I guess. Navy. He had a 7th granddaughter.
I did. I mean, I was wondering if he knew.
Yeah.
But I guess he's recognizing her for the first time. But going back to this case with Hunter Biden, I do think that people need to understand how serious this is. I mean, they basically have been selling out our country for, I mean, pretty much a decade at this point. And the fact that he's saying, oh, they're just, I just talked about the weather with them. That's basically what they're insinuating now after this testimony from Devin Archer. But yet you can see all of the transactions that relate to other countries that are coming into this family. It didn't happen by accident. I can tell you what, Bill, I'm not getting any of these transactions. So obviously there had to be something going on.
No, we talked to Travis Chance of CFG Wealth Management every Thursday, who is my wife and I's financial advisor. And he has a meeting with us about every quarter, showing us, where the money came from and everything. None of it's coming from Ukraine. None of it's coming from Romania. None of it's coming from China.
No. Well, and we have a couple comments here. Carol Miles said, I agree about the school zone cameras. Definitely a cash cow for the city. Lizzie Warren says, and now the New York Times says Biden was just being polite to Hunter's business partners, of course. And Steve Stanton says they will impeach Trump for a late library book.
Yeah.
Anything
exactly
they can.
Right. Yeah.
They've been trying to go after him since 2015. And I mean, the best they have is that he tried to delete cameras at Mar-a-Lago now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you read the indictment, it's absolutely ridiculous because they're now saying that Trump was trying to force employees to delete the video. So what they're trying to do is turn one of his employees against him. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to apply pressure that way and scare people.
They've been playing this game from the beginning. That's why they had Paul Manafort. They had just go down the list of people that Roger Stone, right on down. We're going to turn state's evidence against him.
Yep. I mean, it doesn't end. And the amount of money that the American people have spent on this that I'm sure most of us don't agree with is absolutely insane.
Trump's expenses have been like $42 million right now.
It's ridiculous
for the attorneys.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and so but there are some people that didn't go along with Devin Archer. They didn't think Devin Archer was doing such a hot job on the stand yesterday. In fact, the guy, the genius who proved that there was a connection with his questioning a couple of weeks ago, actually got up and tried to went before the cameras to try to rectify that yesterday. Here's Congressman Goldman.
The witness, Mr. Archer, was very clear that Hunter spoke to his father every day. And he indicated that he approximated about 20 times over the course of his 10-year business relationship that he had with Mr. Biden, with Hunter Biden, which would be about twice a year, that Hunter would put his father on speakerphone with whomever was at dinner, and there was no indication that he had any idea who was at dinner with them. It was just a say, hello, I'm at dinner here, and there was nothing related to his business dealings.
Yeah, because that's what I do. I put my phone on speakerphone when my dad's in the room and say hello to everyone.
And especially at dinner.
Yeah.
Is he really that stupid, or does he think we are?
I think it's the latter. I think that's the thing with most of these politicians. They think that the American people are stupid. And I will tell you, the people that are the smartest people I know are the people that read every day. They read these articles, they're looking at stuff in depth, and they're more educated on topics than a lot of our elected officials are.
We talked about ad nauseum over the years about Watergate and how Goldman and Woodward and Bernstein are still trying to make themselves relevant by referring to that. Oh, this was worse than Watergate. This was worse than Watergate.
Watergate was nothing compared to what they're doing.
Yeah, I was just going to say, kindergarten exposure or something was worse than Watergate. It was just pathetic that we have, but the Republicans were on board with the investigation. You didn't hear any of the Republicans saying, "Oh no, this never happened. This didn't happen. He didn't talk to so and so. Oh, this break-in. The president didn't know anything about that." The Republicans are saying, "Let's get to the bottom of it. Let's see what's going on." They didn't circle the wagons around Richard Nixon, which they should have.
Yes, they should have. And right. Steve Stanton says, if you watch that clip with no sound, you will see evil. And Ann Drabeck says they gaslight us on a daily, and we know it. You're absolutely right.
And again, and for people who don't like gas.
Yeah. Well, and when we get back, we're going to be looking at a CNN clip of someone that says, it's not the Republicans' fault.
Right.
So we'll be right back.
She trains at 6 a.m. every morning. She spent years working to shave off seconds. She's the captain of her school's team. He's just a mid-pack finisher. But not today. Unfortunately, this competition was over before it even began.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Are you a mom or dad? Do you have little kids with big dreams? Well, hopefully your kids aren't white or Asian, because if they are, they will have a very hard time getting into their dream college or landing their dream job. Top schools and corporations are run by left-wing Democrats, and they openly discriminate against whites and Asians. So even if your daughter has the best test scores, even if your son has amazing grades, even if they spend extra hours studying and doing everything right, it won't be enough. Unless you suddenly discover that you're part Cherokee, or transgender, or in the country illegally. Otherwise, your kids are out of luck. Which begs the question, if Democrats are hurting your children, why would you ever vote for them? Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Welcome to August.
Yes, it's going to be a hot one.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But it looks like that string of hot days, at least out west, has beginning to break, and that's good because it's called climate change.
Well, my friend that lives in Arizona was like, "How's the heat wave out there?" I'm like, "It's only been a few really bad days," but he's like, "It's been 110 here for a week and a half." So he was like, "I'm kind of jealous." I'm like, "Well, we have humidity." He's like, "Okay, true. I'm not sure which is worse,
but no humidity."
No humidity.
There you
go. Your hair always looks good, ladies. So
that's right.
there is a benefit to the West.
For sure.
So the Bidens, what do you say? These people are so corrupt. It's in plain sight.
We've got the tape. We've got the recordings of the phone calls. We have recordings of we've got Biden. This was played. Rush and CNN and Fox used to run this, especially Sean Hannity used to run ad nauseum. Biden in Ukraine telling about firing the prosecutor in Ukraine.
Yep, we've all seen it. We're
not going to get the $1 billion.
Yep.
100 times. That's quid quo pro.
Yeah, and you can see why Trump was impeached, because he was getting really close to discovering what the heck was going on over there. And, you know, one of the things is that the Bidens also, they're an embarrassing family. Yeah. I mean, there's so much dysfunction in the family. And I understand we all have dysfunction in our family. Like, let's not get it twisted. But I do think that having a family that is in the White House, there's been cocaine found. We all know whose cocaine that was. Mm-hmm. Like, they're trying to say, like, we can't figure out whose it is. We know whose it is. Yeah. It's embarrassing to have these people in the White House. They have basically just made a mockery of what it means to be the president of the United States, and, you know, have taken away a lot of dignity that should be in the White House, and a lot of, you know, upholding tradition.
Yeah, they can't find who leaked the Dobbs decision.
Right. Well, and going back to the Bidens, Hunter Biden, he, you know, had an affair with his brother's wife. Disgusting. And then he has a child with a stripper, and they decide not to claim this child. And there was a discussion on CNN about this, and it was quite interesting, the discussion, because I think that they were surprised at how harshly they got obliterated. Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look. But this keeps going on and on and on, and we shouldn't be tolerating this.
But Scott Jennings, the president has made being a family man a central part of his political identity.
It's not Republicans, with all due respect, who made Hunter Biden into a complete scumbag on this and other issues. The ignoring his own daughter for 4 years, and the president of the United States hanging up a stocking for the dog, and not for his 7th grandchild.
Okay, look, we can also have sympathy for people who are struggling with addiction. Let's keep this conversation respectful.
Listen, I totally agree. And you know where I'm from, a lot of families deal with addiction. And you know who ends up picking up the pieces? The grandparents. And in this case, the grandparents would not acknowledge this little girl. It is offensive. But the bottom line is...
But they have now.
Oh, what a hero. The polling must have been brutal.
The polling must have been brutal.
No one ever questioned.
Yeah, thou shalt not speak evil of Democrats. Who is the robot in the middle?
I don't know.
There, oh gosh, he's going to be talking the truth. Nothing gets you in trouble in Washington these days like the truth.
Well, I also think, like, we need to be respectful. You guys are very respectful of everyone else, I'm sure.
These people are selling us down the river.
Yes, they are.
They are destroying this country. And you're saying, no, we need to be respectful. Oh, give me a break. These people need to be run off the... I cannot believe that anybody would advertise on CNN.
Well, I mean, I think that there's money funneling in from other places to keep it afloat. I don't think that it's
the only reason the only reason the Washington Compost is still publishing is because Jeff Bezos bought it. So it's his money that's keeping it going.
And it's probably a write-off for him as a total loss.
Sure.
So, I mean, it works out for them.
Exactly. And the New York Slimes is the only reason that they're still publishing is because of a lot of outside influence and money that comes in from the Soros foundations as well as Meta.
Yes. Well, and I think, with this Biden stuff, I think it just gets worse. I don't think, I think the grandchild thing is a big deal because he's right. And I love in that clip how she's like, but they acknowledge her now. And it's like, where have they been for 4 years? And he's right. It's all based off of polling. It was very unpopular for them to ignore this child and for them to try to fight against her having the last name Biden.
What gets me, Brittany, is that she has a first name Navy. When Hunter Biden actually got dishonorably discharged from the Navy that he never should have been in the first place. The only reason he got in the officer candidate school, he was the oldest, I think, practically in the history of the service to get in, and then he's kicked out. But the only reason that he got in the first place was because of his daddy. He's kicked out of the Navy, dishonorably discharged because of his drug problem that they said just cropped up recently. Oh, please, it cropped up recently in a kindergarten. But
now he
names his kid Navy.
Well, I don't know if he named the kid that. I wonder if she did it as a jab, but who knows? And the thing is, Bill, is that there is so much behind all of the Biden influence and what's been happening in this country. And they act like it's, like you said, new. But growing in, you look at some of the stuff that, the behavior that he has and some of the stuff that Joe Biden does, it makes you wonder what it was like. And Ashley Biden is nowhere to be found. She's not at anything. So I don't know. There hasn't been a lot of talk about what that relationship is or why she has nothing to do with the Biden family, but there's got to be something there. And I'm sure it is more depraved than we could ever imagine.
What was the story about the showers together?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of speculation, a lot of stories out there about Biden and the way that he sniffs people and like his engagement with people. It's just weird.
I'm surprised that people in Finland are still talking to us.
Yeah.
After that episode with the little kid, with the little baby that he goes over and starts
biting on. It was very strange. It was very strange.
Biden.
Yeah, there you go. There's a new one for us.
There we go. But
Steve,
he's having he's having a great time at the beach.
He's been on vacation 39% of his presidency. It must be nice. I don't know any of you, but I can't vacation and still have a job for 39% of the year or ever.
As one of the talk show hosts said yesterday, he said they've got a picture of him out there in a bathing suit, and he said, if I were the president of the United States, I'd have a bathing suit with the embroidered president of the United States, the president's seal right there on that bathing suit, baby. they've got it on his cap, they've got on jackets, got on shirts. Why not his bathing suit? Because he's certainly in it a lot.
Well, that's the other thing, Bill. I think that when you look at him, I mean, we're the laughing stock. You see this person on the beach and you think like, what an old, frail, like just, I just don't see anything positive when I look at him at all.
No.
And, something that was brought up that I saw on Twitter was the scandal is no longer simply that Joe Biden is a crook. The scandal is that his voters don't care. The scandal is the news media doesn't care. The scandal is that our Justice Department doesn't care. But the real scandal is that he may get away with it.
Yeah. Exactly, and because they don't have anything else to talk about in the media and the things that they write about, he's wearing the baseball cap backwards, and they were discussing whether or not a man of his age should be wearing a baseball cap backwards.
Well, what else are they going to talk about? Trump? Yeah. That's the only other topic that they have.
Yeah, there we go.
And I don't know about you, Bill, but I think that they've worn out the Trump thing. People are just so sick of hearing Trump's name, and I think it's worn out a lot of Republicans too. And I think
it's part of the plan.
Yeah, of course it was. Well, I will never forget that he said there will be Trump TV. Little did we know what he meant by that. I mean, I thought he was going to have a Trump station, right? No, he was going to be on every station, and it was all about Trump, and it has been for the last 7 years.
But once again, they can't find who put the cocaine in the White House. They can't find who leaked the Dobbs decision. But somebody who was driving by on the interstate in Washington on January the 6th, they can find those people. And in the middle of the night, they can go to their house with a SWAT team and arrest them in front of their family.
And Bill, they have no apologies about it.
No.
And these people they're arresting like 70 and 80-year-old grandmothers. Like they're not, these people are corrupt. They are destroying our country, and they've made it they've made it so that we all live in fear of saying anything. And I will tell you that we cannot allow them to keep us silent. There are more of us than there are of them. And if we don't start standing up, there are going to be huge consequences for that.
Yeah. Remember, once again, we should learn from history. What was the I can't remember the gentleman's name during just before when the Nazis were taking over in Germany. He said first they came for the communists. He said, but I wasn't a communist, so I didn't object. And then they came for the Christians. He said I wasn't a Christian, so I didn't object. So then they came for the workers, trade unionists. I wasn't a trade unionist, so I didn't object. And this goes down the line. Finally said, and then they came for me, and there was nobody left to object. Lessons from history. We outnumber them. The media doesn't want you to think so.
Yes, but we've got to start doing something, Bill. It's gotten way out of hand. Our government is out of control, and it's all being weaponized against us. So keep that in mind.
And our enemies are delighted, and our friends are shaking in their boots. We have no foreign policy. It is a total wreck, and we have no respect around the world. And that was one of the things that the news media tried to sell us on, the fact that Biden,
Normalcy.
they hated Trump because he actually told them, you got to pay your fair share for NATO, okay? Or you're out. And all of a sudden they started paying their fair share. And maybe not their fair share, but at least they upped the ante a lot more than they had in the past. You shouldn't shut down your nuclear power plants. In Germany, they're sitting there saying, that may not have been a bad idea.
Oh, hopefully
right.
people start to learn. But when we get back, we'll be talking about what we found in California, and it's totally normal, right, Bill?
Oh yeah. Nothing's normal like California.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like
rather than my skills.
I want to be judged by my political beliefs.
I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes.
When I grow up,
I want to be offended
by my coworkers
and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery,
long time no see,
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety
and do workplace sensitivity training
all day long.
When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder
just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
At Get Real America, we want to make sure that the real story gets out, and you can help us as a sponsor or as an advertiser to make sure that that word does get out to the community.
Be a sponsor and support your local community here at Get Real America.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Kicking off the month of August here, and just one story that I'd like to mention also, Brittany, that Savannah police, this is straight, we're going to have to get to the bottom of this. They surrounded this home in the 1300 block of Newcastle Street for several hours yesterday. The TV stations were doing live reports and live updates, even up to the 11 o'clock news last night, and police say they were attempting to arrest an individual on multiple felony warrants. They say he barricaded himself inside the home. After hours of a standoff, nobody was inside. And that's the end of the story, at least so far. They said the police went inside just before 11 o'clock after hours of being on the scene. No one was inside. And believe it or not, no arrests were made. So they didn't arrest nobody.
Interesting.
But
I wonder why they thought he was in the house.
I'm sure there's more to this to come. But was there a secret tunnel?
I did ask you that this morning because I'm all about like having secret tunnels, but apparently they don't exist here anymore.
Oh, some of them do.
Okay.
We still have secret tunnels.
Okay.
We just don't tell anybody because they're a secret.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get to the bottom of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So,
in California, they have found this Chinese lab. It's amazing. We've been complaining about Wuhan all this time, and all of a sudden we find this lab in California.
You know, just a few weeks ago, remember they discovered a Chinese police station in New York City. What?
And no one is up in arms about this, Bill. That's the other thing. No one cares that the Chinese are policing people here.
Mm-hmm. Now, if they were arresting the homeless, maybe we'd have heard something.
There would be some outrage.
Oh boy, would there ever!
A lot of outrage
because there's nothing too good for our homeless. And meanwhile, in California, believe it or not, Ripley, here is a Chinese lab. Here's the story.
Never seen anything like this.
First at 11, this one is tough to believe. An investigation tonight into a possible illegal medical lab. It was operating out of an abandoned warehouse in Reedley. Inside, mice bioengineered to incubate the COVID-19 virus. The lab was discovered near I and 9th Streets. 30 refrigerators and freezers, some broken, were found filled with bodily fluids. Health officials tell us they are shocked at the biological house of horror. CBS 47's Juanita Adame live in studio with the shocking details tonight.
Well, Brian, this story is so complicated. There are local, state, and federal agencies all involved. Now, what prompted this investigation was a simple garden hose that was illegally attached and coming out of the back of a building. It was back in April inside this abandoned warehouse in Reedley that a discovery so shocking was made that it left local health officials stunned.
This is a truly unusual situation. I've been in government for 25 years. I've never seen anything like this.
I've never have seen this in my 26-year career with the county of Fresno.
What was supposed to be an empty building used only for storage was home to an unauthorized lab testing facility, something no one had even conceived of.
We reach out to our local public health directors throughout the state, California, and nobody has really expressed this type of interaction with a unlicensed lab. So it is something new.
The discovery was made after a local code enforcement officer noticed this garden hose poking out a back wall of the building.
Frankly, we knew that shouldn't be there. And when she went to go investigate, she found that there was activity or operation or something happening within that building.
The city then obtained several search warrants to enter the building. Once inside, no staff was located, but
there was a special room that was built housing about 1,000 mice, 1,000 white lab mice.
And the reason the mice were in the lab was jaw-dropping.
Through their statements, that they were doing some testing on laboratory mice there that would help them support developing the COVID test kits that they had on site.
Documents show the lab was also being used to produce pregnancy tests. 200 of the nearly 1,000 mice were already dead. According to court documents, all the rodents were being caged in, quote, inhumane conditions. Also found thousands of vials, many of which contained biohazards, materials including human blood, unidentified tissue, and other unknown substances.
A lot of these are being classified under unknown chemicals. Labels had been removed from bottles, so there was only certain testing we could do to those chemicals.
According to court documents, experts determined that at least 20 potentially infectious, viral, bacterial, and parasitic agents were being stored inadequately, including E. coli, malaria, and even COVID. The city of Reedley immediately called in the CDC, the FBI, the California Department of Public Health, and the Fresno County Department of Public Health.
I think because of that swift action that was taken, we really have been able to maintain public safety this entire time.
Over the course of several weeks, investigators figured out just what they were up against. And as of now,
there are no more biologicals, there are no more mice, but they still will see us abating. There's 30 freezers and fridges, there's medical equipment, there's all sorts of furniture in there. And so they'll still see some activity. Nothing hazardous at this point.
Prado said the owners operated under the name Prestige Biotech, and so far they aren't saying much.
Some of our other federal and state partners still have active investigations going, so I really can speak more to the building side of it.
Now again, Reedley city officials emphasized that the lab had no city approval to operate and was supposed to be vacant. Investigators are working to figure out what to do next. Live here in the studio, Juanita Adame, CBS 47 Eyewitness News.
So how did they get all of that medical equipment to go in there if it's supposed to be vacant and they had no idea it was there?
Yeah. Shouldn't somebody have noticed some activity happening?
Especially if there's mice in there.
Where's law enforcement? Yeah.
Yeah.
There was something like, I think they said 900 mice that were infected with the various coronavirus vaccines or coronavirus strains of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the reason? You know, we're having trouble. Still, the news. Congratulations to them for covering this story out there on the CBS.
Yeah, and the building inspector for finding it.
Yeah, and they found it over a hose. You can't make this up. But this is one of those situations where they're still not connecting the dots. You know where else? You know what's nearby this lab within a few miles?
I don't know that I want to know.
Actually, maybe you don't. Lemoore Naval Air Station, the training facility for F-18 Hornets. It is the biggest naval air training facility in the military or in the Navy. Gee, I wonder why you would have. We're wondering now why the Chinese are buying up farms
by all of our military bases.
Near our military bases. And here's the Navy's, one of the Navy's biggest air bases. They're the Navy's biggest air base, training the F-18 Hornets. And it's near this lab where they have found 900 mice with coronavirus strains. I wonder what that was for.
I can't imagine.
Two seagulls, Gertrude and Heathcliff.
Well, and our friend Steve Stanton says, how can we just let this pass? And they have police station, weather balloons, now this. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. It's not being covered that widely.
No, it's not.
I haven't really seen a lot of coverage on this, which I think is...
Well, now that they found this, I'm sure there'll be more indictments coming forward for Donald Trump.
Exactly.
It seems like every time there's a big story about the Bidens again, the Biden crime syndicate, all of a sudden this prosecutor comes up with more indictments against Donald Trump.
Yeah, and they're also, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but this whole alien UFO stuff, I'm just like, I think it's a distraction as well. I think that it's very convenient, the timing of everything. And their wording of things and just certain things that just don't sit right with me.
Frankly, if those aliens are real, maybe they could take over. Could it get worse?
They were able to get to Earth, so maybe they could figure it out.
Yeah, they made it. If they made it light years away from, we say about we've discovered this planet that would really be nice for us to habitate, because it's got it looks like it's got all this, and it's got like pure oxygen, it's got this, that, and it's just beautiful. But at the speed of light, it would take 300,000 years to get there. You're like, oh. Yeah. For goodness sakes, let's make plans to go to this place for vacation.
Yeah. Well, have you ever seen the show Passengers? It was a show that they did, I don't know, a few years ago with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, and it is about them actually traveling on this spaceship and being in these pods and being like frozen in time almost. Mm-hmm. And it takes over 100 years to get there, and they accidentally wake up, and it's kind of an interesting sci-fi. But I was kind of like, this is kind of creepy because I could see people doing this in the future.
Well, I never saw the end. It looked like sometimes they come up with these television shows that you say, well, this looks like just maybe a one-time series because it's got a specific outcome, like The Blacklist. I loved The Blacklist when it first started, but it just went on and on and on, and something else happened, and somebody else got involved, and this happened, and that happened. Because the ratings were so good, they wanted to try to figure out a way to extend the series. But I think it's just winding up, and it's been on like 9 years or something. Get it over with. There was one that I was fascinated with a couple of years back called Manifest, about this airplane that lands. And the pilot's calling in, and the air traffic control says, "Say again? What flight is this?" And they come down, and they land, and they take them over to an isolated area, and they get off, and they were met by these government officials, and said, "Your plane hasn't disappeared 5 years ago. We haven't heard from you in 5 years."
Oh, interesting.
And it was, and I'm saying, like, okay, they're going to get to the bottom of this by the end of the season. Well, they didn't. It went to a second season. It went to a third season. And all these weird things were happening to the people who were on this flight. And it's just it just went on, and I finally said, okay, I'm done. Let me know how it finally comes out. They'll do a finale if they don't do it for another 10 years.
Yeah.
Of course, there are a lot of things.
I'll catch the finale when it's over.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Big Brother and Survivor. I can't believe that those things lasted more than 13 weeks, much less I think Big Brother is going on and Survivor going on 21 years now or longer.
Like, who watches this stuff? I'm like, I don't even watch TV anymore.
Wow.
I don't have time for it, but
some reality shows I do like. You ever seen Tough as Nails?
No.
That one's good. You get two competing crews. These people don't know each other. 5-6 people come together from 2 different teams, and they have to go through all these tasks to make this money. And
okay, I might like that. It's competitive. It seems
really
like it's
good.
The best person wins. I mean, it feels like a meritocracy to me. I like that.
And you get to a conclusion. Somebody wins.
I do like that.
At the end, yeah. The winner gets $200,000 and a new Ford F-150.
Okay.
Except this year, I was really disappointed because the new Ford F-150 was the Ford F-150 Lightning, so they gave them an electric truck. Yeah. Send up a flare.
Yeah, hopefully they installed that charger for them too.
Yeah.
When we get back, we'll be seeing what John Kerry, I always want to call him Jim Carrey because he's kind of a joke, but John Kerry has to say about climate change. That's his favorite topic.
Old Boltneck doesn't want you to eat anymore.
Have you ever boarded a plane and thought to yourself, I hope the pilot is a transgender refugee? Have you ever gone to the emergency room and said, I hope my medical team is incredibly diverse? Have you ever moved to a new city and said, I hope the police department hit its equity goals for the year? If your answer to these questions was no, if you just wanted the most qualified candidates for the job, then you are normal. But we have a lot of very not normal people running America these days. Left-wing politicians believe skin color or gender identity should determine who gets the job. Democrats used to care about the middle class. Now they just care about your race and your gender. And as long as Democrats stay in power, it will just keep getting worse. Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
Kicking off the month of August, I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard. Tell all your friends.
Yes, and make sure you check out our sponsors, Sweet Potatoes. It's very delicious. So if you haven't tried their banana pudding, you have to.
And Bernard Williams.
Yes.
Great insurance company. And they're one of those umbrella companies. They'll find you a great policy from a great company. Yeah, they do wonderful work.
So check those two out. They've been great sponsors for us. And if you want to come become a sponsor, let us know. We would love to have you come aboard Get Real America.
Absolutely.
So,
well, old Boltneck is at it again.
I don't know how he has any influence. He is I can't even stand to listen to him. He's gotten on the Biden level for me. I'm just like, I just don't want to listen to you
God,
anymore.
he didn't get to be president of the United States. John Kerry, once again, speaking out. I do want to get his book, How to Marry a Billionaire, though, because he's done it twice. So
who would marry this person if they had options? Like, what are these people doing?
And it seems that there are several billion options. Just to give you an idea. But he's married to the Heinz family. Okay, Kraft Heinz is the third largest food manufacturer in the world, or in America, and the eighth largest in the world. They have $8 billion plus brands. Okay, and yet we have old Boltneck here who's saying that maybe we shouldn't eat so much.
Well, here's the thing, Bill. If he's part of the Heinz family, Heinz, don't they make like ketchup and mustard and things like that? Don't those go on burgers?
Yeah. They merge with Kraft. Okay. So you have Oscar Mayer, which is one of their brands.
That's a meat product.
Yeah. Very much so. And so on. And so the list goes on of all the various products that they have for you to eat. In order for you to eat, you need farms. Okay? I know that still love that interview that was done of a man on the street with some kids said, I don't know why we need farms when we have grocery stores. Okay, this is a level of stupidity. But congratulations to the public school system and you teachers in the teachers union for helping us out here. But if you don't have farms, or you cut back on the farming and give more regulations, we're going to have less food, which will cost more money. But old Boltneck thinks that this will save the planet.
Agriculture contributes about 33% of all the emissions of the world, depending a little bit on how you count it, but it's anywhere from 26 to 33. And we can't get to net zero. We don't get this job done unless agriculture is front and center as part of the solution. But with a growing population on the planet, we just crossed the threshold of 8 billion fellow citizens around the world. We just crossed that in this last year. Emissions from the food system alone are projected to cause another 0.5 degree of warming by mid-century on the current course that we are today. A 2-degree future could result in an additional 600 million people not getting enough to eat. And you just can't continue to both warm the planet while also expecting to feed it. Doesn't work. So we have to reduce emissions from the food system to keep the 1.5 degrees alive. Why do we have to keep 1.5 degrees alive? Because scientists, as a basis of physics and mathematics, not ideology and politics or party labels or anything else, as a matter of physics and mathematics and some biology and chemistry have told us these are the consequences. And we already see it happening. And almost everything they've predicted for 30 plus years now is coming true, but the problem is it's coming true faster and bigger than was in fact predicted.
Okay, he's a liar. That's all I have.
I love the fact that they love science until they don't. It's science. It's physics. It's mathematics. It doesn't have anything to do with politics or ideology. But when science says that's a baby in the womb, no, We can't go. We can't go along with that. When science says that coronavirus that we're finding out now was lab manufactured,
and then it wasn't nearly as deadly as they said it was.
Exactly.
I think the other thing that really bothers me, Bill, is that they've been saying that the ocean was going to take over, Florida or California by the year 2012, and then the goal line keeps moving, but nothing ever happens the way they say it's going to. And these people keep buying mansions on the ocean, so these people they don't believe the crap that they're telling you.
Yeah, the Dalai Lama has that mansion right there on in Martha's Vineyard, right there on the old seashore.
Yeah,
it is amazing that we have this nonsense that keeps going on and on and on. When Al Gore published his book, An Inconvenient Idiot, he said that in 5 years our children won't know what snow is. Okay, that book was published in 1998 or something, 99. And
I've seen lots of snow since then.
Yeah, and if you look at the book, go to the index. There's no references whatsoever in his book. I didn't get this from here. The books that I've seen that debunk his crap actually have like 80 pages of references, of cross references, of real scientists. When we we mentioned the coronavirus thing that you said wasn't as bad as they said it was. We now know that the masks were worthless.
And we still have people wearing them, which it concerns me, Bill. Their lies do matter. And, Steve Stanton says John Kerry just about got over the cliff with the latest heat wave, depopulation. They're selling something to people, especially in the millennials, buy stuff hook, line, and sinker. A lot of millennials are not having children because they don't want to harm the earth. And they don't want to bring people into this world because
it's not going to last that much longer.
It's crazy what these people believe. Absolutely crazy. But I will tell you, something that I saw was that 12th grade boys are identifying as conservative at a very large rate right now. I think, unfortunately, females are also identifying as liberal at a high rate right now as well. But I do think that it's interesting that we're seeing a shift in the younger people where that's what's happening in reality. But if you look online, you would think everyone's a liberal.
Oh, without a doubt.
So
once again, this is the media. This is social media as well as the regular media and the Democrat Party. But I repeat myself, trying to convince you that everybody thinks this way. If you're not thinking this way, there's something wrong with you. And that's what happened when Rush Limbaugh first went on the air after people had heard Walter Cronkite and the NBC Nightly News and ABC, the only three networks that were existing in those days, and saying, wait a minute, that is what I think. I've been hearing all this other crap for all these years and said, this doesn't make any sense to me. And that's why Rush went from 60 stations to over 600 stations by the time he passed away.
Well, and I think that we just need to keep in mind that the internet is not reality.
Exactly.
And there are a lot of great things happening. And I think that we have to remember that because the fight isn't stopping. And I think that we have a lot of work to do. But I do think the majority of people believe in common sense, regardless if they're a Democrat or Republican. I do think that there are a lot of people that don't know what to do because the Democrat Party has really just gone off the deep end. And they're like, but I don't exactly align with what Republicans believe either. So there's a lot of people left politically homeless. So that could be good news for Republicans. So just want to leave a little bit on a high note that there are a lot of young men that are identifying as being conservative.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for tuning in. That's going to do it for us today. We will see you guys tomorrow. Remember to download our app, The Local Spin. Catch us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo, Rumble, and anywhere you get your podcasts.
Grab the book 1776 and read it. It's a Pulitzer Prize winner from David McCallum about how we won the Revolutionary War with a ragtag bunch of guys against the most powerful Navy and Army in the history of the world at that time. It's amazing. We can do this. Stay real.